Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is Star Wars The Black Series Sergeant Jyn Erso and Captain Cassian Andor in 4 minutes or less. Sergeant Jyn Erso and Captain Cassian Andor are two of the 4 basic, non-exclusive 6-inch Black Series action figures released on Forced Friday. Both characters appear prominently in trailers for the upcoming film Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Both figures feature the standard Black Series articulations: single-jointed elbows, double-jointed knees, ankle rockers, wrists, neck, and a torso or waist pivot of some sort. It seems like Hasbro has settled into a "this is what these figures are, and if you don't like it, have fun waiting another year for the imports to ship, if they ship at all" attitude. Harsh, but fair. Even though I took the time to set up a macro on my keyboard that automatically inserts a complaint about single-jointed elbows into my scripts, it's probably time to retire that argument. These figures are what they are, and as collectors, we've had plenty of time to either accept it or bail on the line altogether. Hasbro seems to have switched over to molding heads in flesh-colored plastic as opposed to painting them. It's nice to know that figures won't end up with chronic paint loss in areas like the tips of their noses, as frequently happens with painted figures, but it gives the figures a newly soft, flat texture that I'm still getting used to after decades of collecting. I suppose it's more realistic than the traditionally glossy paint, but it lacks any kind of variation and doesn't quite match the painted skin tone of the still painted neck. That didn't sound as redundant in rehearsal. Cassian, decked in his Solo brand Hoth gear, has a removable hat with goggles and a scarf attached, where Jyn has a wrap that acts as a hood and cape. I assume she can fly. Both have blasters with some silver paint. It's not much, but I can give that a pass since they both have working holsters on their hips, which is something that 10-year-old Dan could only dream about when he was collecting Star Wars and G.I. Joe figures back in the 80s. She's a streetwise fighter who grew up under the heel of an empire which drives her contempt for the slow-moving wheel of bureaucracy and the people who spend their time talking about how to fight Star Wars instead of picking up a blaster and shooting lasers. He's a captain in the Rebel Army? Navy? I'm not sure what the real hierarchy of the rebellion is. If she's a sergeant and he's a captain, I assume we're talking about the Rebel Army, but it's possible they have their own ranking structure since there are so many cultures and militaries coming together at once. I don't know anything about the logistics of managing a patchwork space army fighting a galaxy-spanning empire, but it's always bugged me that the rankings are just handed out like college credits based on life experience. All you have to do is own a spaceship, and suddenly you're a captain in the Space Force. No training, no tests, no working your way up the ladder to prove that you have the ability and can be trusted to command troops or plan battle strategy. It's just like, hello, I have spaceship. You have spaceship? Welcome to Space Force, you're captain. 2 weeks later, it's like, you fought battle, you're alive, congratulations, you're general. There's no other explanation for Han Solo's rise through the ranks. He shouldn't have wanted to be a general, and there's no way anyone ever looked at him and thought, that's the kind of guy who should be responsible for the lives of Space Army soldiers. The only answer is that he had a spaceship and the rebels ahead of him on the depth chart were dead. And this is just pure speculation on my part, but it looks like Captain Andor recruits Jyn, she totally mouths off to the top-tier rebel leaders, biff bang pow, she's promoted to Sergeant of the Suicide Squad. But the movie isn't out yet, and I personally don't want to know any more than what I already know from my pre-existing knowledge of the Star Wars universe, the trailers, and the very brief synopsis of the 2 characters on the back of the boxes. Also, please stop sending me links to your Star Wars fanfiction. You're not helping. These are nice enough figures, but without the context of who they are and what role they actually play in the Star Wars universe, without being a bit more compelling visually, they are an easy pass for now. But if you've never met a Star Wars movie you didn't like, then these are a must-have, so buy them if you see them. If you see 2, leave 1 for the next collector. Thanks for watching. We appreciate that you take the time. We appreciate that you hit like, and we really appreciate when you subscribe and share our videos around the web. Let us know in the comments below what rank you would have based on your life experience. I do not personally own a spaceship, but I do have a lot of resentment for upper management, plus I have a college degree and I spend a lot of time in retail sales working at malls during the holiday season, which more than qualifies as battlefield experience. As far as I'm concerned, that makes me at least a lieutenant general, right? I mean, at least until the guy in front of me dies, right? Not you, producer Greg. I meant the guy ranked above me. Poor choice of words, I'm sorry.
It's alright. Cut.